the entire battalion, pretty much, and walk the airfield. While I stood on the back of the truck.
Welcome to the Duet Ninja Dojo. I go by Duet Ninja. I explain stuff. Stay tuned. We'll start here at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got about 15 minutes. Give you guys some music real quick.
Didn't fuck up anymore and performed.
Hey, what's up, Shane? How you doing, Shane? I'm gonna try to go watch Superman this weekend. Hopefully. Hopefully. Oh yeah. Right on. So disclaimer here. I got a new laptop, and the laptop I have, so you can customize your ports, and I got all USB-Cs. So this microphone is actually plugged into my laptop. Couldn't do that before. It's a cool thing. Sorry, this music was skipping. The voice is a bit staticky. All right, it should be. Hold on. Maybe it's. Okay, I was after moving the microphone around. How's that? I think it was hitting up against my shirt. Is this these USB mics, man? They don't. There you go. Yeah, those USB mics, man, they are. You can't control the gain on them things, bro. It comes like. So yeah, welcome to the Duet Ninja Dojo. I go by the Duet Ninja. On occasion, I explain stuff. I have to be a little more tamed on YouTube, apparently. Can't say bad words on YouTube. Let's see here. So today I'm just going to talk about what's going on in America right now. Now, granted, I'm not going to be on here for 5 to 6 hours because clearly I could. Well, it will take me that long. But yeah, I'm just going to just talk about some things, man. And of course, everybody knows what's going on in Texas right now. Excuse me, I'm pulling up my AI partner here. But we all know what's going on in Texas right now, and the things that have gotten kind of like my attention is how people are responding to it. You have people saying, obviously, this is what you get, and you have people saying, well, um, aren't you supposed to be the party of I'm talking about Democrats? Aren't you supposed to be the party of tolerance and this, that, and the third? And people talking about Democrats are cancers, and it's just and conservatives again. This is what you get. Yeah, so that's what's gotten my attention. It's kind of of a slippery slope that people are playing with here. There are there's more than one way to kind of vilify individuals to a point where you don't care if you take their life or not. This is what we're seeing. The crumbling of late stage capitalism. This is exactly what's happening, and it's not going to be Gosh, it's not gonna be pretty. It's really not. But yeah, it is what it is. So what's going on in Texas? And folks, if you're not aware of what's going on down there, clearly there's been this massive dumping of water, rain, things of that nature that is that triggered a catastrophic event. I believe the last numbers I heard there were like 170 people still declared missing. Unknown property damage. And there's a lot of nuances to it, but one thing I learned that was actually kind of caught my attention was the type of people that went to that camp. That was the camp of the wealthy, apparently, and the surrounding areas outside of that area that was attached to that camp and the people attached to that camp were very poor. I didn't expect that. I didn't see that coming. That was something I didn't expect that. Normally, if you have like an RV park, things of that nature next to some water, natural water source is um, it's not expensive, so to say, but it's you know that caught my attention. I was like, wow, okay. I believe the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, their granddaughter perished down there. Yeah, it's just it's crazy. It's crazy. Um, I'm getting um, some intel on this real quick, so I don't come up here and just talking. Yeah. So yeah, right now we're looking at a death toll of at least 120 people. Um, that's statewide, mind you. 96 in Kerr County alone. 60 adults, 36 children. God Almighty. Yeah, it's 160 to 180 people still unaccounted for. Around 161 missing in Kerr County, many of whom were campers from Camp Mystic. And this the Guadalupe, excuse me, surged over 30 feet. I mean, I'm not gonna get into the whole, they cut the funding and all this other stuff, man. This is like I mentioned on my TikTok account. This is the beginning of what we're going to see. Um, hurricane season, tornado season, any type of natural disaster season, so to say. And we're not even talking about droughts and fires and also it's the resources and the movement of resources here is what people should really be focusing on. It's astronomical. The way people are just nonchalant about this. More and more young people and elderly are going to be affected by this the most. Why? Because they are least likely to be able to handle themselves in this type of situation. Um, but yeah, I just that's something that really has been sticking out to me. And something else that's sticking out, obviously, is the whole alligator Alcatraz BS. And that kind of ties into the whole natural disaster situation. Again, hurricane season is among us, and with the dumbing down of the alarm system now, it's not gonna. I'm not here to doom and gloom, mind you. It's going to be it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, hoarding of the wealth is insane. Yes, Shane. Uh, yeah, it is. It is. And why people don't want to deal with that is amazing to me. Clearly, the wealthy rely on the working class to get things done. They don't have all the mechanized elements to make us irrelevant. So I don't understand why people don't see that. The hoarding of the wealth, and one thing I would say, the hoarding of clean water is, to me, that is going to be far more devastating than a lot of other things. People can survive without food. Surviving without clean water, that prevents you from doing a lot of things: walking, running, building, escaping, cooking, washing, hygiene. All these things rely on clean water, and yeah, it's yeah, yeah. And when you don't have a clean situation, you have people, confined to a space. It's crazy. People need to also remember, the whole COVID situation. There has been, mutations of that. Those type of situations can occur. Not talking about COVID. I'm just talking about in general. I mean, measles. They're the most measles, or the measles cases, I should say, have increased. I think higher than it's been in 20 years. Something crazy. Um, these are all things that people have to worry about. It's not just, oh shit, I don't have power. Oh shit, I don't have any food to eat. It's like, oh shit, I can't wash this wound. I can't keep my wound clean. Infection sets in. It's a lot of things involved in this, folks. A lot of things. And then, once you get into the colder months, the Midwest can be extremely grueling when it comes to cold weather. The yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, and I really hate that people have to go through this simply because they have these ideologies that keep them thinking that, these group of people will suffer more than I will. Bullshit. Oops. Shane types, there shouldn't have been any cases of measles in none. Never should have been a case of measles in the USA. None. None. And quite honestly, you could expect polio to start creeping back in this country too. No, polio cases were due to intervention. Polio cases were shrink down into one particular region in the entire world. It was almost eradicated completely. That region was the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan. That tribal region, that area right there. That's where polio was compartmentalized, right? And it would have been gone completely, for the remoteness of it, obviously. And then you have, dealing with the political aspect of, the Taliban and things of that nature, because they run Afghanistan again. Go figure. Um, you can expect polio to start coming back in this country. If Trump, well, whether whoever's in charge of that administration, it might not be him. The resources to fight that situation is not going to be significant, and on top of that, right, you're not going to get a warning. And the whole warning aspect, the prevention aspect, is how we try to keep our society in a situation where it's not going to be, it's not going to crumble from the inside. And then this is part of the whole Project 2025 situation, complete and utter chaos. You know, levied so much destruction and um, confusion and other, adjectives or whatnot, to completely, put the United States government in a quicksand situation. Trying to run through wet tar. They're really trying to slow this thing down, man. And at the same time, they're trying to eliminate as many poor people as possible. Blows my mind that people don't understand this is a war on poor people. It blows my mind. This is exactly what this is. Project 2025 is a war on poor people. And why people don't want to put it in that light is beyond me. It's not about theology. It's not even about power for the church, even though it's the Heritage Foundation. Ultimately, it's to put people in such a state of suffering that you have to rely on certain things, and it's not going to be the government. You know, they're offering folks a $10,000 signing bonus for joining ICE. I know that was a little random, but that was my train of thought there. Heritage Foundation, Trump administration, deportation. It's interesting. Appreciate you being on here, y'all. Well, Shane. Shane recently saw the Superman movie. I'm hearing good things about it. I'm hearing good things about it. Oh yeah, that's a great point, Shane. It is a classic colonizer technique. Yeah, yeah. You need God. No, I don't. Boom. Now you do. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, recruiting poor people to oppress the others. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There are far more weak people among us, Shane, than not. This is I mean, we can see this going back to slave catchers. You know, people who had a great time, imposing their quote unquote will on individuals who were seen as second class citizens or not citizens at all. Um, and at the same time, they were living in the most harsh conditions just above slave quarters. They got pride and things of that nature from not having to deal with their own condition, because those people are worse are well, not people, those what are worse off than I am. So I'm gonna make sure they stay there because my conditions really suck. Imagine if the slave catchers and the quote unquote slaves got together and burned Master's house together. Imagine that scenario. And in some situations, there were slave revolts that involved quote unquote white people, but it normally wasn't people who were out there in the fields on top of horses with slave whips and shit like that. Uh-huh. Mhm. A prison guard still has to spend his day in prison. He just gets to go home. Ooh, yeah, facts, facts. Prisons. They don't just condition the prisoners. Yeah, ain't that something? Yeah, you give them slightly better conditions. Yep, and they will stay stuck. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, man. The perception of I guess you can say perception of authority, and that's not just police officers. As you know, you have people who um, hmm, you have people in our society today. You know, case in point, law enforcement officers. You play the game and you get conditioned, right, while you're trying to join the team to play the game. There's a crap load of hazing that goes on in law enforcement, things of that nature. You would think people who have that authority, who have that job, wouldn't be so damn immature, but it's hardly the case. And that's something, and I believe James Baldwin spoke on this. Um, youth and ignorance are the only virtues, and yeah, yeah, and you see that over the years. People people being immature in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s is completely different from people who are being immature in the late 90s, and today. It's different. I mean, sure, people still did immature things, but you didn't have that type of reinforcement. It seemed like, but yeah, yeah. Have you seen the TV shows? I haven't, Shane. I don't watch much TV at all, to be honest with you. If my wife and I were watching TV, we normally watch like House Hunters. like for real. I don't. I hate commercials. I probably shouldn't be saying that because I'm a voiceover actor, but I'm not a big fan of commercials because I understand the psychology behind it, and it just I'm like, dude, oh, that's what you're trying to do. Oh, that's what you're trying to do. Yeah, I don't. What's up? What's that show about, bro? If you don't mind me asking. All right, this is hold on. We're gonna pull up some more information on what's going on right now. And so if you guys haven't noticed about going back to the whole Texas flooding situation down in the Kerr County, um, check out the response and emergency response and infrastructure. I'm gonna read that to you real quick. An estimated 2,100 plus responders from 10 plus states, plus Canadian and Mexican teams. A lot of people might not want to know that, but are engaged in search and recovery. Canadian and Mexican. Even though the Canadian government said "F you" to Trump, obviously Mexico and Trump are not getting along at all. Still send people to do humanitarian shit, right? Ongoing. Officials have criticized a lack of flood preparedness, excuse me, insufficient warning systems, outdated river gauges, and poor outreach in rural areas. Remember I told you about the encapsulated area of that camp. Kerr County previously declined flood sirens due to cost. No flood sirens, okay, and state flood alert proposals HB 13 did not pass. It's political. It's political, folks. Right? Experts also warn that this is coming from Time magazine. Experts warn that climate change is intensifying these flash floods events, with quote unquote 100-year floods becoming more common. Now I'm from North Carolina, rural North Carolina, and we live near. Well, I should say we lived around a lot of floodplain areas. I live near one right now, actually. Not here, but a lot of damage can happen very quickly. People aren't prepped for that stuff, man. What you would probably see as a creek bed could turn into a river in no time. In a lot of situations, the soil on the side of that is not it's not necessarily compacted by the flow of water and at a high level. That's why you get these mudslides because the ground is not it's not the contour is not made for that, so to say, because it's not used to that action. And of course, you get the aggressiveness of the flow of the water and the bridge damage, things like that. You saw that a lot in Western North Carolina. God, that hasn't even been a year ago. Yeah. So yeah, it is political. I wish people stop saying that BS. And what does this mean? All right, so just to wrap this up real quick, over 120 daily rainfall events and 20 plus inch totals are well beyond typical extremes. Up to 4 months of rain falling in half a day. What? Are you saying up to 4 months of rain falling in 12 hours? And this is becoming more frequent. And oh gosh, this really irks me. These kids and the elderly have, God Almighty. All right, so key takeaways from this real quick. Some stats, some metric stats. Rainfall, 20.3 inches. You heard that correctly. River rise from 7.6 feet to 37 plus feet in hours. Apparently about 12. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about fatalities. This person I mentioned that. You got 18 to 22 billion dollars in damage. Um, yeah, this is becoming more frequent, folks. So moving forward, artificial intelligence here, well, chat GPT, I should say. Urgent infrastructure upgrades, flood gauges, sirens, things that they said not to get. Hopefully, they will get them now if they plan on rebuilding in that area. Policy changes, lawmakers are advocating funding and Mandates for state, local flood resilience designs. Yeah, you can talk all you want, man. God, Almighty, I hate that people have to suffer and perish because people are just so. Oh gosh, strengthen community safety. Right, emergency plans must include camps, RV parks, and other vulnerable sites. Just a little bit. Excellent. So this information came from the San Antonio Express, Houston Chronicle, My San Antonio, Time Magazine, and other resources. Yeah. All right. So Shane says it's about this company that has invented a way to separate your work self from your outside work self. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of water, bro. That's a lot of water. 4 months worth of rain in 12 hours. I've never heard that comparison. That's I don't think people understand that. God, that's a lot of water. And we can expect more of this? Shoo-wee. That's crazy. That's nuts. That's nuts. You know, there's something that we haven't heard a lot about lately. The Middle East. I don't want to say certain words, so we'll say the Persia Palestine situation. Man, and that's for a reason. The whole Epstein situation. I mean, people they're fighting tooth and nail to keep people from coming together because that's exactly what this is going to do. More and more people are not. Hey, what's up? What's up, Ginge? More and more people are not necessarily siding with the is and real regime. More and more people are completely turned off by that, especially the younger generation. Um, More and more people are kind of like, well, Iran was defending themselves, so why are we getting involved? And more and more people are on that 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 bicycle, so to say, right now. So it's yeah, it's by design. We're not hearing a lot about Israel and Israel. Oh, the Persian Palestinian conflict. But I mean, technically, geographically speaking, that's exactly where that pariah state. That's where it is. It's in Palestine. I'm just saying, but it's just another segment of society is doing all of that stuff. Yeah, and obviously, Iran, Persia, same thing, basically. Keep your ears open, folks. Keep your ears open. And something else I want to pass on to you guys, and I've spoken about this before, but there's a lot more information, and this is time has passed, so things are kind of settle more. Um, that whole push into the interior of Los Angeles there's more of a deterrent to that than people want to realize, and the deterrent is for foreign assets to come into that area and cause havoc. Um, if you know anything about Orange County, Los Angeles, it is a hub for diversity. And if anybody slips in, if anybody slips in and establishes themselves, which has probably happened already, it's going to be hard to prepare for that, so to say. So, yeah, yeah. Palestine was Philistine. There you go. There you go. Um, so, and I need to get to your Substack, Jen. I haven't checked out your stuff lately. But keep your eyes and ears open, folks. It's a good chance that there's going to be some. Gosh, yeah, I know too much, and it's. I wish I was just numb to this shit, but I'm not. There's gonna be some false flag events going on in this country. I don't expect some type of nuclear event to happen in terms of a nation v nation type of situation because everybody knows every government that has some type of device of that caliber They understand once one of those goes up, once one of those goes off, coming from a country, coming from a nation, it's going to be utter destruction. There's going to be nowhere to live. But some type of dirty bomb, some type of again terrorist act. People, you know what gets me about that term terrorist? The act in itself can be promoted from a country. I mean, people like to think proxies are engaged in that situation or rogue elements. I mean, continue to give you, if I'm a bartender and I can continue to give you drink after drink after drink after drink after drink, knowing that you're going to drive in a court of law, I'll be held liable. So to say that a quote unquote terrorist organization is acting on their own when clearly they're supported by proxy, I'm just saying. I'm just saying we can't fall in love with making a rush decision when it comes to some type of terrorist, quote unquote terrorist attack. That's what happened in 9/11. That was staged like a motherfucker. That was staged like a motherfucker. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not. I like science. I was in the military. I had clearance. There's just the things you know and hear and see. But we can't. Well, not we, because I don't think you're gonna be like that. But hopefully the right people will hear this. We cannot be quick triggered, so to say, quote unquote, about a terrorist incident. But at the same time, we need to be as aware as possible to the elements that could possibly do that. And I'm convinced of a lot of things. One being the reason why the Triple K has never been officially designated as a terrorist organization, so the United States of America, the government, would not be held liable to what happens in this country. Side note: can anybody explain to me what the hell international law is supposed to do if nobody's going to carry out any type of repercussion? Does anybody can anybody answer what the F is international law and the court? What is that supposed to do but say bad? I mean, what are you going to do? I never understood that. People talking about, well, according to international law, who gives a F? If you're not going to enforce it, what are we talking about here? Staging. People should fear international law, not just talk about it. This is why America was seen as the quote unquote police of the world, because you're gonna get it if America's involved. You were gonna get it. And now the world is waking up to the fact that you're gonna get it if you mess with white people. Now people are waking up to that, but they didn't know it already. The International Court of Law is a dog barking with no teeth. It's like a shark without a fin. It doesn't make any sense. Well, anyway, I never understood that. I never understood that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the U.S. was supposed to, Jen's type. The U.S. was supposed to be the enforcement. Yeah, And Shane typed, yeah, but when there's corruption at the top, it's useless. Yeah, 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 you guys are right. It's and this circles back to having an informed populace that could see through that and put the right people in place. I really wish we can just blame the government. I really wish that, and we could if it was a monarchy, which is what they're trying to create now. God Almighty, to think this country was dumber than this. Let that sink in. To think, to think the number one method of communication going back to the 1800s and early 1900s were newspapers. People had to read, to actually read to get their information. And we have the most people that are able to read at a fifth grade level in this country ever. And it's still in the 50 percentile. Wow. Some of this shit just blows my mind, man. But it works. I mean, you can see it for yourself, folks. This is why it works. People just they're not only less motivated, their reading comprehension is just not strong. And now we're at a stage where visual, digital, audio, video. I mean, yeah, you can add text and this, that, and the third, but people's ability to have a reading comprehension and be able to filtrate and extract a situation where you can add context and other information that you have read is, oh my gosh. Audiobooks, don't get me wrong, I don't do audiobooks. I'm not that type of voice talent, but audiobooks is great. But it's different when you're able to see letters, concepts in sentence paragraph form, filtrate that in your mind, and then have a video, have an audio reinforce that. Okay, so it gives you a more diverse outlook on the world and how you can filtrate information. I really wish people had an eighth grade, seventh, eighth grade reading level type of comprehension before they got a smart device. This is why a lot of people, and Jen, you can probably attest to this. This is why a lot of folks are scared as shit of AI. They don't know how to utilize it properly because you have to actually be able to filtrate information, see it in your head, and then type it out, and then give it to the give it to the software, give it to the platform that you're utilizing, so it can manipulate it further for you and be able to. It's a give and take. It's a constant give and take, and people don't. But this is one of those things. Artificial intelligence, just like gaining a lot of money, gaining a lot of wealth. It's a mirror to who you are. So the stronger your reading skills, the stronger your writing skills, the stronger your concept is of explaining. Artificial intelligence is going to be it's going to be like a loaded weapon for you. Now, what you do with that loaded weapon is a whole nother game. hmm hmm And Shane type, this is why school funding is deprived. Absolutely, a dumb populace is a controlled one. Mm. There are no information gatekeepers, debunkers, and knowledge authorities protecting what gets spread. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Jen's types, yep, and research work with in trial and error. Absolutely. Um, Jen, type your info. Where people can go check out your intel in terms of your AI breakdowns. Um, and, she typed in here also. I created a chat bot to validate or challenge my pattern recognition. That's problem solving, folks. On top of problem solving, you're putting something in place to filtrate everything before it happens in real time as it happens. This is the beauty of AI, folks. I told somebody because I do public speaking for people I'm attached to in terms of a club I'm attached to, um, because I'm the PR rep for the district. So I go to these clubs and I talk about social media, best practices in artificial intelligence. And one of the things I tell folks is you should look at AI like um, some type of firearm, right? If you don't understand how to use a firearm, chances are you're not, well, first and foremost, you won't be able to use it properly. You might injure yourself or others, right? You're not going to respect that firearm because you don't understand how to use it. You don't understand how to load it, nothing. Okay. But at the same time, if you understand it, if you understand AI, not only are you able to utilize it, okay, you'll be able to see what type of quote unquote firearm somebody else has, filtrate that. You'll be able to take somebody else's firearm and use it for yourself, use it for good, hopefully. Um, People shouldn't shy away from AI. You should understand it. You should engage it. You should understand it, right? And that way you'll be ready for whatever comes to you. And AI is a very broad term, mind you, right? There's tiers, well, I should say categories of AI, right? Um, and thanks for your feedback, Celtic Ginge. Um, and she types, "That's what I use to anticipate the regime and enforcement." I see this process she's talking about carries over. Um, it augments and enhances when used well. Precisely. And Shane types, "Yeah, I am not a fan of AI, but I know I will need to learn to use it properly." Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Did you know spell check is AI? Ain't that crazy? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Spell check. Anytime you use some type of text to um, closed captions, that's AI. It's crazy. No, because you have the type of AI that goes with your vehicles, the whole self driving situation, and then you have this aspect of um, you know yeah, speech text. All right, right, exactly. Um, yeah, yeah. So yeah, just understand it, man. That's the best thing you can do. Because me personally, it's getting harder. And the only reason I'm able to do this because I have an ear for voiceover and sound and speech. It's even to this day, it's specific, right? You can tell artificial versus, well, I can tell artificial from a real voice. But one thing that I'm learning about, and there's a lot of people who are in certain alphabet agencies that are also worried about this. Somebody coming up with some type of AI video that's so real that it sparks a response, and people go out there and start doing stupid stuff. So the visual aspect of artificial intelligence, I'm trying to understand that as best as you can. 'Cause, I mean, speech to video, text to video, try to understand that. See what happens when that is produced for you, so you can see what the artificial intelligence is doing. All right, because even even though it's AI, it's still pattern. There's still patterns involved in that. Right, you can see it from a visual standpoint, especially informational filtration system. That's different. But when it comes to visual audio, there's certain still they might well, it's still getting better, mind you, but try to understand it before it does. Okay. It's at Grammarly, yeah. Yeah. There was a video, Shane type. There was a video of our prime minister that was advertising stuff. The voice was a little off, the context was off, but the lip sync and movement had me second. Yeah, man. Yeah. Once that audio and that video merge, bro, it's gonna be really freaky. Um, Jen types, AI can't fool me on celebrity voices. Choral director and vocal coach worked for years. Yeah, I can usually tell even on voices I don't know. I've been fooled a few times. Yeah. And- This is the creepy thing too. The people who have the most money will have access to the best artificial intelligent reinventions, so to say, when it comes to content. Who do you trust? And that this is a part of the whole, you know, oh, I don't trust this, I don't trust that aspect um, of our political climate. You guys remember me saying that, MAGA is going to piss off enough white people that this country is going to. Well, I'm not quite sure this country is going to be in good standing order. Um, I really think this country is going to be divided into segments. I really do. I really do. um, a scenario I had in my mind, and forgive me if I sound a little off here, but if we as a country, well, excuse me, hold on, if the United States government under this administration and whoever again is attached to this administration that's still running this BS show, if we decide to cut ourselves off from the rest of the world and focus on this country, that's when a civil war is going to occur. And one thing I hope folks realize before it's too late is that it's going to be extremely difficult to know who your enemy is when that happens. It's going to be it's not going to be a race war. If what was going on right now was going on in the 1920s, 1910s, yeah, I'll be like, oh, okay. This is going to be a mass extermination type of situation. It's going to be extremely difficult for you to see who your enemy is. You're going to have to wait on their actions. That's a part of confusion that I really don't think people are ready for. It's not going to be I'm wearing this color or that color. I speak this way. I speak that way. It's going to be extremely difficult to know who your enemy is visually in real time, person to person. It's going to be difficult. You can assume, but you're probably going to assume wrong, especially white folks. Especially white folks. Because white people are setting they're already setting their boundaries, so to say. You have MAGA, right? You have white nationalist neo Nazis. Okay, some of them some MAGA aren't necessarily crossing over to that category. If you guys didn't know that or not, but they're still all behind Trump. Collective mindset, right? Um, you have people in the middle that are just trying to survive. They can care less about conservatives. They can care less about Democrats. They just give a fuck about their family. Excuse my language. They just care about their family and their immediate situation. And then, of course, you have folks who are liberal. You have folks who um, just don't like conservatives or whatnot, and you have folks who hate racists. Right? It's not. And again, and these are all quote unquote white people. And I'm being vague about this, right? There are subcategories within subcategories. I know this. It's going to be extremely difficult for quote unquote white people to see who their enemy is outside of somebody's skin tone. And that's also what makes it very dangerous for minorities in this country. Non-white minorities, I should say. How many people are going to get out of that comfort zone? Because for some odd reason, these white nationalists and racists and all these other people think they have the numbers. No, yeah, you have the numbers going into, um, going into the 60s. Actually, well, hold on, I'll take that back. You have the numbers. You have the numbers before. I would say they have the numbers going up into George W. After George W. Bush's presidency, that it really took a dive. That's why they're trying to ramp this back up again. But yeah, it's gonna be extremely difficult for white folks to see who their enemy is. If especially if they're on the neo-Nazi MAGA side, it's gonna be extremely hard for them to see who their enemy is straight up. Because it's very easy to be that type of person. It's very easy to be that type of person because those type of people don't think. It's purely emotional, which means they're easily manipulated. Which means folks over here can easily manipulate them. It is what it is. It's very hard for MAGA to manipulate, right? But it's not hard to manipulate MAGA. Israel knows this too. All right, guys, I'm gonna get up off of here. Thank you so much for joining me on the Duet Ninja Dojo live. This video will be posted up on my account later on today. I come on here. This is going to be an ongoing thing. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll come on here and just chat about stuff. As we all can see, there's going to be plenty of information to talk about. That's for sure, because this is only going to get worse. And I'm not here to be this doom and gloom person, folks. I'm just trying to give you a leg up and a heads up. Okay. Survival is going to be key going forward because the people who survive this bullshit are going to be the people who are going to lay out the law, lay out the situation, build a society. It's very important, right? And I'm hoping that we don't have a society on the other end of this bullshit. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen. I hope we have the type of people on the other side that are going to make this country a non-threat when it comes to other countries around the globe. We have the resources to be a beacon, and I'm not talking about music and also the crap. I'm talking about people. There are people in this country that can really help set this world on the right track. Those are the people I'm talking to, because those are also the people that don't have to fight for their ass, for real. There are more than enough people that are just completely dumbed down and oblivious to the situation that's coming. And those are going to be the people who are going to fight like hell to make sure that it doesn't happen. What do I mean? Progress. Basic human empathy. We weren't always like this, folks. The old tribalism, that's BS. We weren't always like this. But by the time colonialism came around, we already understood, and we as a globe, mind you, we already understood that it's best to benefit from the land that you have and the resources that you have and trade with others, so conflict is not necessary. But surviving the global phenomena, the weather phenomenon, things of that nature, that was far more impactful because it was daily, it was seasonal, it was coming. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You can stop war. You can stop unnecessary hate, ignorance. You can stop that. That's far easier than trying to prevent the globe from rotating, right? Spinning. Can't do that. It's coming. There's nothing you can do about that. And mind you, there are clearly geographical seasons. There's also a galactic season, so to say. What the Greeks were talking about astrology and things like that, and the Egyptians, all these things. It all interconnects. We have a season based on your geographic location. We have a season based on the rotation of the planet around the sun, and there's also since the Earth is it's a living organism, mind you. Since the Earth is what it is, it has its own seasons. Now it can span over thousands of years before the next season, but it's going to happen. And then the Earth, it, it goes to the next season and the next season. So, but anyway, this is why I'm here. Thanks for joining me, guys. And I'll see you on TikTok. Yeah, awesome. If you have any comments, lay them out here because they'll be available on the video. All right. Appreciate y'all. I'll see you guys in a week. Woohoo! Oh yeah, go see the Superman movie.